My name is Patty. I am here to share my story about my spinal CSF leak. My journey actually began with a jet ski accident. From the accident, my sciatic nerve was affected. My ears became very full. I had minor headaches, but more than that, I had extreme fatigue. I went to my ear doctor. He started with doing a mastoidectomy, but my ears were still real full and my head was full, and I couldn't quite figure that out. I went to my primary care doctor and she ordered an MRI with contrast. Ironically, the radiologist who read the MRI said it was low in spinal fluid pressure. The headaches were terrible. They tended to be one-sided, but more than that was fatigue. And I would find myself having to lay down several times a day just to get through the day. When I woke up, I'd be fine. And then within a half an hour, the headache would strike. And I felt the instant urge to lay down. When I went to see the new ENT, he looked at my MRI, and the first thing he said to me was, "You're in trouble." Knowing I was faced with having to see a neurologist, neurosurgeon, numerous doctors from what he said, I knew that I had to tell my kids. After losing my husband 2 years before to brain cancer, I was so more than nervous about how they would accept what was happening with me, another parent with a brain issue. My neurologist was extremely patient in explaining the leak and what would follow from that, who I would have to see. I started with imaging of my spine, went on to a blood patch, which lasted for a couple weeks. My ENT doctor, it showed nothing, and my ENT doctor decided that maybe we should look for the leak in my ear. That came out showing nothing after another ear surgery. And then I was at a standstill. What do I do next? Where do I go? After my second ear surgery, they were a little lost as to what was going on. They performed a second myelogram. Nothing came up. The leak was not in my ear. They didn't see it in my spine. Where do I go from here? I went to the expert center and had a myelogram. They were unable to locate the leak, but gave me a blood patch, which lasted a couple weeks. A couple months later, I went back to the center. They did a dynamic myelogram, and after the dynamic myelogram, they discovered I had a CSF-venous fistula, which is a very hard kind of leak to find. They did the targeted blood patch, but it lasted only a couple weeks. From there on, I was on to surgery. After my surgery to seal my spinal CSF leak, the recovery was a little rocky. I took Diamox because of my Rebound high pressure. I limited myself to no BLT, no bending, twisting, lifting. It was really hard for me because it curtailed my very active life. But I eventually got through it and went on to full recovery. I now am in total almost 100% normal. I do my boot camp bar class. I'm back to my art. I'm back to active lifestyle. I don't have to lay down and take a nap every day. I cannot tell you how thankful I am to my family, to my kids especially, to my support group, to my doctors who were awesome through the whole thing. There is hope at the end.